Hey, you have Patrick Findaro here. Today, I want to go through a question that we get constantly at Visa Franchise, which is it better to buy an existing business or an existing franchise, or is it better to start a new business? Now, it's going to depend on your capital. If you just have 150K to invest, there's very little that you can buy with that. Generally, businesses are priced on a multiple earnings, so 3 to 5 times earnings. So if the owner is making $50,000 from the business, you can expect to pay 150K plus for that business. And keep in mind, there's usually the first year after you acquire, it's going to go down. So you might pay 150K just to make $40,000 in that first year in business. Where that same type of business, you could potentially start for 70,000 or 80,000, and you could, make significantly more money in the right industry that you choose, as well as with the right franchise system, the right franchisor support, where hopefully you'd be making 100K, 150K, not in the first year, of course, or potentially it could be in the first year, but you shouldn't plan on it in the first year. So you have to really understand how much capital you have. So if you're buying a business for 300K, that's going to start opening up more options where you could look at businesses that right away you should be making $7,000 a month. And if you really want to prioritize that cash flow, then it does make sense to explore buying a business with one caveat. How much time do you have? If you're looking to move to the United States in the next 6 months or even the next year, it's tough to find the business. Outside of Florida, business brokers are not working together, so you don't have buy-side representation to help you find and source the deals and contact the seller and work through the whole process. So it's going to take longer outside of Florida. But even in Florida, when you're buying a business from an individual, especially at the 100, 200K mark, there's a lot of issues. They probably are not paying their employees in the correct fashion. There's contractors that should be W-2 employees. I've heard horror stories where, there's prior litigation issues against the owner and the company. So you don't understand that what the skeletons are in the closet fully until you actually own that business and you're running it. But you'll have a good idea after you pay a forensic accountant and or a corporate attorney to do due diligence. And that's going to set you back 3 or 4K a pop. So you might have to do that 4 or 5 times. And before you know it, you've spent $20,000 looking to buy a business at 100K, and there's no guarantee that you find that business. So it could take 1 year, 18 months, 2 years to find that business if you're buying it from an individual. If you're buying directly from a corporation or from the franchisor, usually the data is clean. They have a better operating model. Their spouse isn't on payroll and not actually working. You're dealing with a professional seller who's running the business, hopefully in a professional way. So it's going to be much faster to transact on the business. And it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months to find the opportunity, vet the opportunity, and invest in the opportunity, that existing business or existing franchise, if you're buying from a corporation, not just an individual who's an owner operator, but a franchise system that has 10, 20 corporate locations, and they're looking to sell one of their corporate locations to an investor. In terms of franchising, it's less capital to invest, but the downside is you don't have that money from day one. So it takes time to open. For a service-based franchise, it might take just 1 or 2 months to open, but then to break even could take 1 to 12 months to break even. And that, depending on the system, you're going to have a very clear idea, especially with the more established systems, on when you're going to break even. But if it's a newer system, it's probably all over the board, and it's hard to get an idea of when you're going to break even and then make significant income. So that can be a bit stressful, especially if you're coming to the U.S. And you've never done business before in the United States. It can definitely be stressful, especially as you deal with integrating your family in the United States. So there are definite pros of buying an existing business that has cash flow, that you as the new owner can be making money from day one. And then from the franchise side, it's going to cost you a lot less money. with the potential to make far more money than if you're buying a business for 150K that's existing just to make 40K, 50K. It might be hard to really build that up where you're making 100,000 plus per year, where it might be better just starting afresh with an established franchise brand in a new territory where the franchisor can really help you a lot with the branding, sales and marketing, the systems, etc. So there's pros and cons to both. The franchise option usually takes, in our experience with clients, 2 or 3 months to find, analyze, work with the franchise attorney, work with the immigration attorney, invest in the franchise. Where buying a business, if you're buying from a corporation, maybe 3 to 6 months. If you're buying from an individual, more like 1 to 2 years. So it's going to depend a lot on what you prioritize, how much capital you have to invest, and what time frame do you want to really be moving to in the United States, and how much time you have to dedicate to the process. I hope you found this video informational. Shoot me a comment in the box. I'd be curious to hear if you're thinking about buying a business or you're thinking about starting a franchise.